How do you feel that MLB's handled this scandal?
I think they've handled it exceptionally well, and that's a far cry from how I felt initially. My initial thought was that their 1-year suspension for Hinch along with Luhnow was extremely harsh. I said, the history of baseball, spiked balls, pine tar, and all of this other stuff, steroids, amphetamines, the list goes on and on. Please, this is just the latest until I heard all the details later on that evening. And upon learning how extensive this had gone on, how extensive this was rather, the technological equipment that was installed, how premeditated it all was. And you saw actual footage of what they exactly were doing to opposing teams. That's when the egregiousness of it all was really illuminated. And at that particular moment in time, I absolutely supported owner Crane's decision for the Houston Astros to fire both the manager and the general manager. Obviously, we knew it was a foregone conclusion that Cora was going to be gone in Boston because he was the bench coach in Houston at that particular moment in time when they won the World Series in 2017. Then he was the manager in Boston, who was enduring their own scandal right now in terms of what may or may not have happened. Apple phones and all of that other stuff that Major League Baseball got involved with. So you knew that Cora was going to be gone. Now I want to see what other dominoes fall. Carlos Beltran, Mark Teixeira is calling for him to be fired as manager of the Mets because he was with the Astros before he retired after winning that World Series. Obviously, there are players on the Houston Astros who were clearly complicit in this whole scheme. I want to see what goes on with them. And my last point is this, Max, and you'll probably disagree with it, but I just feel the need to say this. Pete Rose is banned for life for gambling on the sport of baseball. As a manager, as a player, he had the greatest nickname ever, Charlie Hustle. He was never accused of or thought of cheating. He balled all out, and he's still banned from the sport. If you can do that to Pete Rose, some would not compare the gambling to this. I would say this is incredibly egregious, and more folks should be in trouble. And I'm talking about the players. We got to find out who knew what
the Pete
and
Rose
who was
point.
complicit in all of this, because clearly they were.
I like the Pete Rose point because anything he did after the fact does not erase the 4,000-plus hits. He's the all-time hit leader. Charlie Hustle, greatest all-star to play as many different positions as he did, all that stuff. I don't see how that, whatever he did after the fact, erases what he did on the field. That, to me, is ridiculous. That's the problem here. You can't erase what actually happened on the field, and they cheated, and it probably helped them win the World Series. They most likely lose to the Yankees, the Astros, in 2017. 2-2-1 games, nail-biters, close one-run games where they're stealing signs, and there's no defense against the stealing signs, and only they have access to the technology at home. They go to Yankee Stadium, the Yankees beat the brakes off them in three straight games, not one-run games. They beat them up. The Yankees were clearly the superior team. Then they go back to Houston and lose 2 more. I thought, the Yankees just can't win on the road. No, they can't win on that road. So I like the way baseball has reacted, and you mentioned you thought it was too harsh at first. Baseball actually in 1919, 100 years ago, they call it the Black Sox scandal. When there was a fixing of the World Series, immediately they brought in Kennesaw Mountain Landis to be the commissioner. That cleaned it up, although he also enforced the color line. That was a mixed bag, to say the least. But in terms of what they were addressing with the gambling, they got that under control immediately. Et cetera, et cetera. Baseball has faced a lot of scandals, but here at least, they're reacting to it swiftly with harsh punishment. And as you brought up, Stephen A., why is the NFL taking so long to get to the bottom of even the punishment for the Patriots, right, for the cheating, if you really want to clean things up? I'll also say this about Alex Cora. And everyone in baseball loves Alex Cora. But in the steroids, in the human, or called the PED, performance enhancer scandal, there was a ground zero for me. And that was, I noticed it, Tony La Russa's teams. In Oakland at first, guys, and I don't want to start shouting out names now, but if you go and look at the stats of players on those Oakland teams, the hitters in particular, suddenly became guys they never were before on that Oakland team. Then La Russa goes to St. Louis, same sort of thing. Guys with eye-popping numbers Oh, my God. So now you have to look at Alex Cora, the bench coach on a team that cheated their way to the World Series in 2017, the manager of the team that wins the World Series in 2018. Both times there were really, really good teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers in their way. And both times it was like, when it matters most, that Alex Cora team's just better.
Max, at some point in time, we brought up the name Pete Rose. We can bring up the Black Sox scandal. We can bring up a whole bunch of stuff that has transpired in baseball throughout history and at least compare this to the egregiousness of it all. And I'm telling you right now, I don't want to see just managers having their heads rolled. Players were complicit. When you banging on that trash can and that gives you an indication to avoid this slider or this knuckleball, whatever the case may be, when you've got that kind of stuff that's going on, the players were involved. Where is the punishment for them? That's where we need to get to next because players got screwed over. Kershaw got screwed over. Yu Darvish got screwed over. Brandon Morrow's got screwed over. The Yankees got screwed over. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.